And we're going. So we were just talking about the podcast that you listen to, and you listen to a lot of NPR, like just quick 10-minute like snippets of the news. And that's how you get your news.
Yep. Yeah, I listen to news. I have the New York Times podcast. Not podcast, the app or whatever.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, the New York Times app, so you can see all the current news and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, just something just so I can quickly get the news and not really have that much opinion come in, like we were talking about.
Just a sec. You're cutting in and out. I don't know if you hear that. So you might want to move the mic up a little bit. There you go. There you go. That's good. I think that's good. Fine? Yeah, that's good. Okay. So, yeah, I think that's a good way to get your news, because if you sit there and you dive into it too deep and you're wondering like, why did this bomb go off, like you had mentioned, or like who set that bomb off, or like what interest did the United States have in it, and like what initiated some of these things, it can cause you to kind of have an opinion or paint a narrative to like where you're just, I don't know, like you become biased in a sense. Right?
Yeah.
As opposed to just finding out what's going on and then going about your day. It can make you crazy.
Yeah, I could say it can make you a little crazy.
Do you ever check out from the news?
All the time. Like once in a while. I mean, I'm not even on Facebook for weeks at a time. Just too much information. I like to just go about my day, go work out and whatnot, go home, enjoy. Once in a while, lay back, play video games. But getting into what's happening in the world, it's important. It's very important to be involved in the world, to understand what's happening, to understand the politics, to understand the science, to understand all these different things. But then it could get just depressing.
It really
can.
Too
much information.
It is absolutely too much information. And the thing is, like, you would never think that too much information's a bad thing. But when you're like, every morning when you wake up and you have these alerts on your phone, like, this is what happened while you were sleeping, and that's the first thing you see every single day, like, that sets the tone for your day.
Turn those notifications off.
Yeah.
Just see exactly what you need, your calendar alerts and whatnot. If you really have that extra time of day to jump into a podcast, then jump into it. But it just overwhelms you having all those notifications every single day. I used to do that.
Yeah, just read them all day long.
Yeah, you'd read them all day long, and you wouldn't get the notifications you actually need. The important notifications, the important emails and whatnot they actually need. You'd have all these other notifications from.
Well, isn't it based on like your algorithms and the type of things that you typically like? So like if, for instance, I see one thing pop up on my phone that's about a war or something, and I click on that and I start reading it, I'm more likely to get other articles that are like that, correct?
Well, yeah, but that in general, war is going to generate more clicks per article regardless. People are more excited about war, more excited about other people dying than a kitten getting saved in a tree. I don't know what to say.
What does that say about humanity?
We're more driven to see the bad things than the good things. I mean, it's just if you're a caveman, you're going to be more interested in seeing the tiger running after you than a nice steak sitting on your plate. I mean, just because it's really good for you and you really like it doesn't mean that you're going to be directly attended to it.
That's one thing I witnessed not too long ago, and it was kind of interesting because I've interviewed all these different people who have inspiring stories of overcoming or starting businesses or just whatever it is. But then I interview one politician who is kind of against the grain a little bit, who people don't like, and maybe for good reasons. But you just sit there and talk to them and just have a normal conversation with them, and people want to attack you, and they just jump on you, like pounce on you. Whereas you don't maybe get as much of that on an episode that would be inspiring or inspirational.
Yeah,
it was interesting to see.
Yeah, it's like I travel a lot, and it's like hotel apps, or for any type of reviews. You're more likely going to see dozens and dozens of bad reviews than a good one. People just love to tell you what's wrong than what's right. I mean, most people I know don't come home every day and say to their wife or spouse, man, I had a wonderful day. I interact with those people. No, they're going to talk about the one bad things. This one guy that slighted them. I stepped on a nail or something. They're going to tell what's wrong with their life than what's right.
Yeah.
Because everybody finds that more interesting or more prominent in their head.
Yeah. Why is that? It's more exciting.
People focus on the bad more than good.
Yeah.
It's that's where I get into it. I have to do a lot of self-mental prep every day. Just look in the mirror and think about what's good and what's happening in your life that's good. What am I blessed with? What am I happy with? That kind of thing.
How do you do that? Do you like meditate? Do you do that first thing when you wake up?
Mm-hmm. You just set time out of your day before you start interacting with people, and you get your head right. You get your head in a place that makes the world a lot better around you. You're not looking at everybody like they're going to rob you or something. You look at everybody like they're a great thing to have around you.
Some people are.
Yeah. Well, I think
but the thing is, like, when you get your head right, like you said, the people who are shitty people, when they are around you and your head is correct and you're in a good space, they don't typically bother you as much. Like if they're rude to you, you're just kind of off the back a little bit.
Never.
Water off the back.
And that's another thing. I just have a rule.
Is it water under the bridge?
Water under the bridge.
Water under the bridge. That was a bad analogy.
Water over the bridge.
Water
under the aqueduct or whatever you want to say. Whatever you want. But yeah, it's just, I just go into every conversation assuming the person has my best intentions in mind.
Mm.
If they don't, I mean, I'm not putting myself out there where I'm going to get hurt. I mean, that's just being common sense.
Yeah.
But it's just assuming that they're going to be doing right by you. Just makes your life a lot easier.
Where did you learn that? How did you learn that? Because I think it's easy, and I'm guilty of it too, especially like in the kind of work I do. Mm-hmm. I work around like blue collar workers. It's easy to kind of get in the mentality of like, man, like that person sucks, or they suck at their job. Like they're not learning quickly. It's easy to get like entangled in negativity. Mm-hmm. Where did you learn that? Did you learn that at a young age? I mean, you're not that old. You're the same age as me, but like, when did you learn that?
I just learned it from, when I was in my early 20s, my late 20s now, but
how does that feel, by the way? Does it feel like old?
Feels awkward. Kind of feels weird.
Yeah.
I don't feel old. It just kind of feels weird being 28. It's weird.
I'm 28 and I have a gray patch in my facial hair.
Really?
I'm not happy about it.
I know. Weren't you balding when you're in your early 20s?
I was. Yeah, I had and the thing is I had 3 bald spots that were like the size of a quarter. Yeah. And it was due to stress. And I moved out when I was 17, and then like 3 months later it grew back. So
I'm glad.
It grew back, but then like recently my wife's like, "You have a bald spot in the back of your head." I'm like, "What?" And so I'm like I do have a bald spot. I'm like, I wonder if I'm stressed. I don't know.
And that, and that's just where being positive about your life, meditating every day.
Yeah.
Taking 5 minutes just to, I mean, I know you have kids and whatnot, but
yeah,
I can't imagine if you can take that kind of time in your day. Even 5 minutes is hard.
I mean, you can wake up earlier.
You can always wake up earlier, but then you lose sleep. And sleep is the best meditation of all.
It is. But it's also good to like, for instance, I wake up early anyways because I have to go to work at a certain time. So like if I wake up 5 minutes early and I come to my gym and I just lay there and I meditate. Why are you laughing?
Well, I was just thinking about my gym because you have to go in person. So I was thinking about that, meditating while you're in a... But right. No, you have your gym in your house.
Yeah. I just say the gym because that's like the most like exclusive point in the house where nobody's really going to bother you there. But if I go there and I just meditate, it'll set the tone for my day. And if it takes only 5 minutes to do that, it's not. But you could also do that. You could also do that in bed. Yeah.
But then you want to fall asleep.
That is true.
You want to fall back asleep. No, you need to get up out of bed and get somewhere else.
The thing is like when I used to wake up every morning before work, like an hour to an hour and a half, and I'd run 8 miles before work every day. And it would set the tone for my day. I'm not even kidding. It feels
so much better.
I felt great. Like I'd be going to work and I'd be wide awake and in a great mood. And all my coworkers are still drinking their coffee and they're kind of like trying to wake up and
throwing back their energy drinks.
Yeah, throwing back their energy drinks, smoking cigarettes on their breaks. And
oh man, I just don't know how you could start your day like that. Like I wake up and run 3 to 4 miles in the morning a lot of times. I try to. I don't do it every day. I'll be honest here. But yeah, you just got to make a serious effort to start your day off with getting your heart rate up, getting your mind clear, and just starting it with a positive attitude.
One thing I realized too with running in the morning is it's not easy. It's not an easy task to do. Even if you're in running shape, waking up early to go do something physical is not easy. So when you push yourself to do something that's difficult, all the other bullshit in the day, like people being rude to you at work or like just a bad work day, it really does not bother you.
No.
It makes your day so much easier.
It's just the best prep in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Red Bike Delivery. This delivery service operates only using battery-powered, eco-friendly transportation. Red Bike Delivery is there for all your delivery needs, whether it's dinner for the family, flowers for your partner, or new houseplants for your new collection. Red Bike Delivery will gladly deliver those and everything in between. So what are you waiting for? Check out Red Bike Delivery on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Red Bike Delivery, because there's only one Earth. So you live in San Antonio now, right?
Yep.
When did you move there? Is that mic bothering you?
No, I thought I saw something.
Oh, okay.
I see all types of technology, so I'm looking at it a corner of my eye. Nope, that's not what I thought I saw. But no, San Antonio, I moved there at the beginning of June.
Last year?
No, this year.
Oh, this year.
No, I just moved there. So I travel a lot for work, so I moved there at the beginning of June, had a week to set up and whatnot, and then flew directly out back to work.
Whoa.
My work wants me to currently stay on the East Coast until September.
Okay.
So I, just for last week, just to give some examples, went to New York, went to Connecticut. I'm just going to say Connecticut because it's such a small state. Everybody knows New York, but when you say a small city in Connecticut, nobody's going to know, so I just gave the entire state. And then flew down to Pittsburgh and then flew over to Washington, D.C.
Whoa.
Yep.
What is that like? Is it fun to travel that much? Is it exhausting? I'm sure it's exhausting.
It's exhausting, and yeah, it's just exhausting. But you do get to see a lot of neat things. It's also just about being open to new things, just trying to seeing new attractions. Like one day I was in New York, just went for a walk around Central Park. Never been there before. Oh, okay, that's neat. If I was there again, I'd probably go to the Empire State Building. It's just being open to whatever's in the area.
That's very cool. Do you get to take your wife with you, or
no? That takes too much, or it costs too much, and my work won't pay for that. But
oh, right. So you're on the road essentially every week.
Yep.
Every day.
Well, in 2 weeks I'll be at home doing server stuff. So I'll be fixing medical servers, getting patient data, moving it around and whatnot.
What is it exactly that you do?
That's a good question. No, so the main part of my job is making sure all this medical equipment is up and running. There's no issues happening with it. All the doctors and physicists are all happy with the machines. Again, two very different kind of people. Apparently, I didn't know this before I went to this job. People that do radiation, so this is for radiation oncology. These machines are for positioning a patient, making sure the tumor is in the right location, and then performing the treatment for that. So what I work with is X-ray machines, and that's for viewing where the patient's at, so all of the different imaging equipment can line up correctly. Then I also work with different type of camera, 3D and thermal cameras, all these different things, just ensuring that the patient's receiving the minimum amount of dose of radiation while doing this treatment.
How much radiation do they receive?
Very little. I mean, I couldn't explain it in layman's terms. I mean, it's not enough to, again, cause any problems down the line. It's just going to be enough to treat the area that they're looking at.
Okay.
So this is within a 2 millimeter tolerance. Okay. So only radiation is getting within that line, so it still crosses areas we probably would prefer not to, but the radiation is only hitting for that primary target.
How did you get into this field? I mean, I remember you we went to school together, for the people who don't know, but You were always kind of like a smart kid. You were extremely smart. I don't even know how we were like associated or
I never
like
even considered myself
acquaintances.
smart.
You are. You were always smart. Smarter than me.
I wouldn't say that, but that's just me being humble. I mean, I don't try to. I'm not that smart, but
Well, you were smart. You were considered one of the smart kids in school.
okay,
That's
good to know.
That is a good thing because you're successful. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing.
Well, I think anybody could be successful even if they didn't do good in school. I mean, school is no indication for success.
Right, I agree.
It's just how hard you want to push yourself every day.
I agree.
That's what good indication.
What I mean though is that you were successful in school, and that helped set you up for like going to college and becoming successful in your career.
Yeah.
And you're able to get like I don't know, a good career out of it, I guess, essentially. So, what made you want to go into that field? Because I think I remember talking to you when we were in school still, and you were telling me you wanted to be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So a long trip. Worked as a nursing assistant for 8 years between there and here. Went to LCC, MSU. Somewhere through MSU, someone brought up, you want to do research. You want to create things. Why the hell are you becoming a doctor? Why not just an engineer? And I was already going for engineering because I thought, well, that'll set me apart. And I'm like, I like this. I like engineering. I like building stuff. And I was like, well, okay, I'll just stop going for being a doctor. Took every single class I needed to take. I could have just went right into med school.
Wow.
So I have all that knowledge for all that prerequisites for being a doctor, but I also am an engineer. So I still want to do this. When I was at MSU, you can look this up. Me and some buddies actually created a team called Star X, where we developed exoskeleton suits like Iron Man's suit and whatnot.
Oh, cool.
For firefighters. It uses robotics technology. The suit itself can lift 50 pounds.
Wow.
It's strapped down to the user and whatnot. So it's just for an everyday person. It's to help, say, a firefighter run up a burning building, kick down a door and whatnot.
What was it made out of?
Aluminum.
Okay.
Yeah, just some simple aluminum parts.
Did it have like springs
actuation
or something?
No, robotic actuation units.
Oh.
So I was actually part of so when I first started that team, I was part of the team that actually developed the EMG sensors put right directly on the muscle so that I could read what the person wants to do with their muscle, and the suit will do it with them.
Whoa.
So that's what I was a part of during my college experience. I was very fortunate to meet a group of people that wanted to do that, and I think now it has like 100 members of that club.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy. So your group created that.
Yes, we did. I was mostly on the biofeedback side, little nice word to use, that having a device that's able to work with biology and whatnot, work with the user to do what you want it to do.
So from then, has it taken off at all? Is it?
Yep. This year, so I'm no longer on the team or not, obviously. I
Right.
tried to push for it to only be an undergraduate team so that only they could do it. But yeah, they competed with a couple of schools from Canada, a couple schools from Colorado, Florida, University of Michigan. They're the ones who actually started this, the whole idea of developing the suits.
Oh, okay.
But no, it was a fantastic experience. I mean, it really made everybody said, screw classes. This is the most informative thing we could be doing to learn how to be an engineer. Because we did all of the FEA analysis, finite element analysis on the suit that tested the weak points, the same kind of technology that's used for developing cars, ensuring that the safety ratings are correct. We did a lot of electrical work. We did a lot of control work, so learning how to program, learning how to implement those biofeedback sensors into the programming, learning how to work with soft robotics. That's probably another weird term. It's a pneumatic system that it's like let me think of a good analogy. So imagine a mesh outside of a balloon. So when the balloon inflates, that mesh will actually cause it to collapse. So it creates kind of like a human muscle kind of organization for robotics. So whenever the mesh whenever the balloon expands, the mesh it'll push against the mesh, and the mesh will cause it to
compress.
Compress. So that creates about 50 pounds of pressure, which is
Okay.
perfect for a exoskeleton.
Whoa.
I think nowadays they're going back to using servos though, because for undergraduates that was a bit. We still want to win the competition. It was a cool research, but servers are a little bit easier to use, a little more user friendly.
Okay. Wow, that is so crazy. Now, have they deployed these anywhere?
Not yet. No. When I was president of that club, I got a bunch of offers from other companies to buy it out.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
But no, I was adamant. This is only for students. I want this club to continue because it's the best resource for any student to work on because they have other car clubs and whatnot. But no, for biomedical, that was the only club there.
Holy cow.
I was like, no, it's just keep it as a biomedical club and don't sell it.
And it can only get better from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, you guys invented it or developed it, and then from there, it can only get better.
Yeah, I think it runs off of $20,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's insane. That's not a lot of money.
No, it's not a lot of money. but for students, imagine this, though. So parts are not very much money, and the students are free. So that makes it easy.
Yeah. That's kind of one of the things that's free labor.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a good thing, right? Because, I have a friend whose sister went to OSU, and she just graduated with her PhD, and I think in, I can't remember what it was. Might have been biology. But she was always doing these research projects. Can't talk today. I stayed up too late last night, went to a comedy show, and drank a little too much, which was only 2 beers, but I don't usually drink. So, anyways, so she would always do these research projects, but I think she gets paid, but not much. Do you get paid for them, right?
Research projects.
When you're writing
for PhD?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get paid for that. But you have to, so for a PhD, you have to apply for national grants. Normally the college themselves don't have enough money to pay for because at that point the professor has to then pay out of their own pocket, and they don't normally have the funding for that.
Okay. But you get notoriety for it.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. You still get that.
Yeah. I don't remember where we were going with that.
We were talking about how students aren't getting paid for doing this club research, but the thing is, nobody's getting paid. Nobody's making any money off of this.
Right.
I would have these students, a few of them, I would have them send to Philadelphia or something to the National Biomedical Conference, and they would get put up in hotels. They don't have to pay for it. I would always ensure that the college would pay for all that stuff. So they would get research experience and want to decide if they want to go into get their PhD or something. So that was the biggest thing with this club, is it wasn't really about the building. It was about building better engineers. It was about making professional engineers, just making them more comfortable in their own skin with working with things, with believing in themselves, that kind of thing.
Right. That's cool. That's extremely cool. I wasn't aware that MSU had something like that.
Yeah, they also have car clubs. So
engineering car clubs.
Yep. So they have a solar car.
Oh yeah.
So they have an entire club that's devoted to building the best solar car that. Yeah.
They have an electric bus that drives around campus.
Do they have that now?
Yeah, it's plugged in right around the corner.
Really?
Yeah.
I was hearing they were going to have an automated electric bus at some point.
Yeah, they have it, and I've seen them using it in a parking lot.
Yeah.
I don't think they've actually used it, but yeah, it's there.
I just can't imagine what's going to happen during the winter. That's the only thing I can't imagine.
When it slides on ice or whatever.
When it slides, when you have other people, pedestrians, that's sliding around as well.
Right.
I mean, it's not just the bus itself. It's having to recognize that there's constant obstacles around you.
You would think that it could sense what kind of terrain it's on, and if it starts getting slick, it would slow down.
Yeah, and I think it would probably. I mean, I can't imagine they're going to even run it during the winter when there's a lot of snow. I mean, I bet they would just bring back regular CATA buses at that point.
Yeah. Or they might just have regular CATA buses as well as that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine how much one of those things cost. Oh, man. You're probably looking at at least $200,000 or more.
Easily. I mean, I could even imagine into the millions.
Yeah.
Because each one of those cameras would cost just each one of the sensors cameras would probably cost $10,000, $20,000.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at like a Tesla, like one of the high end ones, you're probably looking at like over $100,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's at least a 15 passenger van or bus.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're probably right. Like,
and then you have all the people that
million.
have to take care of it and whatnot. All the support technicians and whatnot.
What is your you said you wanted to get into electric vehicles, but what's your idea and perspective of our infrastructure for electric vehicles? Do you think we are capable of fully switching over?
Depends what side of the country you're on. If you're in the middle of the country, say, I don't know, Kansas or even South Dakota or something like that, they might not have the infrastructure for that kind of thing. But if you're in the East Coast, easily. I mean, I used to drive up and down traveling all the time on the East Coast from New York all the way down to DC, all the way down even further than that. And yeah, there'd be electric car charging in every single station. I mean, that wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's just once you get out west, I am not sure what the current capacity is.
Especially going up and down mountains, like you're probably using a lot more power.
Oh yeah,
energy power
I
or battery power. I mean,
I think my car is a hybrid, and when I was traveling back out west,
what do you have?
A Chevy Equinox.
It's a GM vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's a nice car. I like it.
I used to have an Equinox. It was a good car. It was I think it was a 2008 or 7, something like that. It was nice.
Yeah, it gets me around. I mean, it has good gas mileage. That's why I got it with all this traveling. I don't have to pay for any of my expenses, but still.
Yeah.
I try not to have to stop every 5 minutes for gas.
Right.
But yeah, electric car capability across the country. Yeah, it just depends where you live.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine some rancher in Wyoming getting an electric truck. They want to or even electric tractor or any of that. There just isn't the capability. But if you're here in Michigan, I don't see why not, unless maybe you're in the boonies up in the UP.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that it just depends where you're staying. It depends. I mean, each person has their own life. I mean, yeah, if you travel a lot and you're always in the backwoods, no, of course not. But if you're going back and forth to the city, why not?
I guess my concern is that a lot of these automakers, including GM, is going to fully switch over to electric vehicles. I mean, I think they might still make gasoline-powered vehicles, like trucks.
Yeah.
But as far as like other vehicles, like SUVs and everything else, I think they're gonna.
Well, you could jerry-rig it where you can have a diesel generator in the back and then plug it in.
Only an engineer would think of that.
You can always jerry-rig it so you can incorporate some type of gas if you really feel like you need the gas.
That's not a bad idea.
But yeah, get one of those trucks, get a couple of generators. There you go. But yeah, no, I think it's going to get a lot better. I mean, I've been looking at a lot of cool technologies coming up with batteries. They're probably going to start getting 1,000 to 2,000 miles per charge.
Holy cow.
Easily. With the new battery technology that's coming out, easily get up there. It's just going to take time. I mean, the technology's still getting developed. I mean, the only reason why people started developing it right now, why the money's in there, is just because electric vehicles are starting to come out.
Yeah.
They haven't been out for, 10 years now? Not really.
No. I mean, Elon Musk was the first to do it. And then everybody kind of jumped on board when, I mean, from what I understand, like GM, for instance, jumped on board when Biden pushed the Green New Deal or whatever. And he wanted things to switch over by, I think, 2035 it is, something or like 2030 even, which isn't that far away.
I don't even think government really needs to jump in anymore with that. I mean, I think
everybody's
already doing it.
Yeah, they tend to.
Yeah.
However, I know that GM was planning on doing it at a later date. Mm-hmm. They met with the president and they decided that they were going to do it even sooner.
I think 2050 was their original target goal, and then they were pushed into 2030.
Yeah. It's only a couple of years away.
No, I can't wait to see it. I mean, it's all about getting the prices of the cars just low enough for people to actually buy them.
Yeah.
I think currently they're just way too expensive.
I mean, a regular vehicle is expensive.
Yeah.
A gasoline vehicle.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, when we bought our truck, right before COVID, actually it was like during COVID, I actually got COVID buying the truck.
Oh.
and I got it pretty bad. And we had to wear masks too. We were in there, and we had masks on, and then I was getting ready to leave, jumped in the truck. The guy walked out, and he's like showing me things in the truck. He's like, hey, it does this and this and this. And he's in the window, and I don't have a mask, and he doesn't have a mask. Because I was leaving. I wasn't expecting him to come out. And the next day, went to work, and instantly, just like that, I like was sitting at my job on break, and I felt a fever, and I just felt like I felt like I was gonna die.
Oh my God.
I mean,
that is funny though.
I didn't think I was gonna die, but like it felt like death.
Well, no, it's funny because I haven't gotten COVID.
No.
All my traveling.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing. I go to hospitals. I go everywhere you would think I would get COVID. Nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Me or my wife. Nothing.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
You're gonna get COVID now.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm saying, come on, hit me.
Well, hopefully you get the latest version of it. It won't be that bad.
Oh, I'm triple vaccinated. It's not going to hit me.
Yeah.
Even if it does.
Yeah.
Even if I do get it.
You'll brush it right off.
Yeah. As long as you're vaccinated, I mean, you're not going to feel the effects as if you weren't.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. When I got it, it was before anything was out.
Before anything.
Yeah. And yeah, it was bad. It was the Delta variant, so I got hit pretty hard. But yeah, our whole family got it. And we were fine.
I hear it's like you're dying for a solid day though.
I would say it was like for us, it was like 2 or 3 days, and then after that, the side effects lasted like 2 weeks, and it was like this loss of taste and smell, and the taste was a weird thing because it was weird because you'd get cravings still. Like I would have cravings for like chocolate or something, and I would eat something that's chocolate, wouldn't taste it, but then I'd feel satisfied that I satisfied that craving. I'm like, that is so weird.
I think I would have then just started testing the most random things I would have thought that would taste horrible. I don't know, just went out and had Indian food and just see if I could get the most spicy thing possible.
You don't like Indian food?
No, I like Indian food, but I'm just imagining like going to an Ethiopian restaurant, get the most spicy thing possible, and seeing if you'd feel anything. See if without that feeling of taste, if you would still, it would still affect you like it does.
Well, you would have COVID, so you can't go out.
Well, yeah, you could still get it ordered. I mean,
you can DoorDash.
Yeah, you can DoorDash it. It's just a theory. It's a hypothesis. I'm wondering how it affects somebody if
that would be interesting.
How spicy food affects someone with COVID.
I should have tried that.
I don't know. Something next time you could try.
Yeah.
Go out and get COVID. Try it again. I'm sure everybody would love that.
Start licking doorknobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to the hospital. Bring me your COVID patient. Take me to your leader.
Oh my! So what was work like for you during COVID? Because you're in and out of these hospitals.
Well, actually, funny. I just graduated with my master's degree a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Barely a year ago. So yeah, for the last year I've been going in and out. But at the height of COVID, I was actually working in my research lab back at Michigan State. Just going in like normal. I had to take care of animals and whatnot. So they still have to live.
Right.
I had to go in and take care of them. Do all my experiments and whatnot.
Experiments? What kind of experiments were you running?
Well, a lot of the start of it was a lot of data image analysis. So I actually was working with octopuses. Our
cool.
lab, I was responsible. Me and a couple of people were responsible starting up a whole octopus lab when I first got there.
Wow.
Learning how to take care of them, getting all the environmental variables set up, getting a good routine set up, all that stuff. But then eventually taking cameras and viewing their movements and whatnot, trying to recreate how they move it, and then eventually going into neurobiology and trying to dissect on how they actually work, how their arms all function in collaboration for a main purpose of going after another animal and whatnot.
Were you able to figure that out?
No, we're still working on. They're still working on that. No, that's a lot of work. I mean, learning. We barely even know how what their cells look like, let alone on how they interact with each other.
Is there other data out there from other universities or other people doing studies?
Barely. I mean,
wow.
There's enough data for maybe an understanding of how many neurons they have, what their blood is made of or whatever. But actually understanding how it all works, that's our purpose. So understanding how to, and then eventually being able to integrate that with robotics for prosthetics and whatnot. So imagine you have your hands. So you have a number of senses in there that each individual finger understands what the purpose of the overall motion wants to do. So it makes it more interactive, more easy for the user to actually use.
Right.
So it's not much of a problem not putting on a hand and then having to spend 3 months training a person how to use it.
Right. That's so
So imagine if you had a hand that already knew what to do.
Yeah.
And the person just had to put in a little bit of input. So that was the whole purpose of our research. And they're still working on it. I mean,
and that's to help make prosthetics better?
Yep, that's how to make prosthetics better and then just general robotics better.
Wow.
But yeah.
That is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Can people tour these labs? No.
I'm not even going to say which lab it is just because I don't know if there's any PETA people around.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know if there are either, but we don't need that.
No.
Now,
my old boss would not be happy about that. Tyler, why'd you do that?
Now, when you were working there, what kind of understandings did you get from working with the octopuses?
What kind of understandings I did? What kind of outcomes that I from that research?
What kind of things did you
learn? The biggest thing I learned is actually learning how so I was able to dissect their nerve cords. So in each of their arms, imagine they have their own spinal cord. And each spinal cord can have its own course of actions on how it wants to do something, how it wants to grab other animals, how it wants to interact with this environment. So I would dissect a small slice of their arm, about 0.5 millimeter in size, and I would have this a cool thing called I think of a better word for it for the listeners here. An array of electrodes, about 20,000 electrodes in a square centimeter array.
Holy cow.
So 20,000 electrodes in that little square centimeter. So you'd put this piece of tissue on it, and each one of those electrodes not only can record with the activity within the neuron or whatever, it can also stimulate the neuron. So you can actually select an array of electrodes from that 20,000, and it will both record and stimulate. So so what I would do is just stimulate, and I would see how each of the neurons would interact with each other. And so what we were trying to do is define a general, I'm just going to say, use this broad artificial intelligent algorithm on how each of these neurons interacted with each other. So before we're going to figure out how each of the arms interact with each other, we're trying to figure out how each individual arm works. It's just a long process. Science is just a very long process on how to figure out something simple that you would think, how does the arms work together? We first have to figure out how the arms work in general.
Right. That is so wild.
Yep.
That is so wild.
That's what I did. That's what I got my master's in.
So by learning and working in that field or studying that, has that helped you in your career at all with prosthetics?
It's helped me with, I don't work with prosthetics at the moment.
Oh, you're going to?
I'm going to. I actually want to start my own company eventually, working with prosthetics, probably for athletics first.
Very cool.
Not as much FDA clearance for that.
So you do have to have that?
Yeah. If you want to work in the medical field with prosthetics, you have to have FDA clearance.
How do you get that?
Proving that your machine's not going to hurt somebody.
And how do you do that? Studies,
so you have to get certain clearance for working with individual people, strap it onto the person, doing hundreds of trials, initially you'd probably just work with the university and get clearance by the university. And then from there, you would eventually, once it's good enough to work with people at a university, then you would start working with people in the general public. Just making sure that there's no electrical feedback within the system. The system has enough safety locks and whatnot, so it's not going to cause a problem, say, bending the person's finger backwards or something.
Oh, okay.
There's not going to be any long-term problems. If you're working with other types of robotics, that it's not going to pinch somebody, it's not going to cause them to bleed, not going to give them even a rash. It can't do anything.
Prosthetics have come so far from the beginning, right?
Yeah, and that's just a simple prosthetic. So then you also have the biofeedback prosthetics that's actually innervating within the person's nerve, so that can get signals that the person wants to attempt to do a finger movement or something.
Is that something that's possible?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
Is there people that have that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, they have some people have a bunch of electrodes all over their. It's usually just a stump at the end of their arm at this point.
Right.
And they would have all those different electrodes on there. Now the problem with that is, it takes hours to get it all set up. and make sure that each electrode's in the correct place. But once it's in place, the person can pretty easily, with a lot of training, a couple of months sometimes, figure out the correct commands and how to do that. I mean, sometimes the command is not even as thorough as thinking about making your finger move. Sometimes it has to be as broad as, okay, think about blue versus a cup of water. It's thinking about different things to get an action to happen. So that the robotics can correctly identify what you're trying to do.
That is so crazy.
So it's training a person to think in terms of different objects or different things in general than actually just getting your finger to move.
So it's electrodes that are attached to the skin.
Yeah.
They're not going into your body?
I think there is some initial that goes into your body, but that makes it a lot more difficult to get FDA clearance if it's going to be penetrating the person's body.
Right. That is so crazy.
Yeah. It's a field that has a lot of potential to still improve on. I mean, there's not even that much military hardware out there that deals with. I mean, there is a lot for healthy individuals to use prosthetics, to use exoskeletons at this point, but for prosthetics itself, it's solely for companies, for independent contractors to work with, to develop
for study.
Yep.
That is so crazy.
Yeah,
that is so cool. I'm gonna have to do a deep dive on that one.
Well, send me an email and I can
and
I can send you all the research because I've done industry research on.
That'd be so cool. That'd be really cool.
Exoskeletons.
That'd be really cool. We at GM have they had through ergonomics they had a exoskeleton thing, and it wasn't anything near what you're working on, but it was just like a suit, and it like I don't know if it had springs or whatever, but whenever you go to lift your arm up, and I was part of this.
Exobionics.
Yeah, that might have been what it's called. They called it exoskeleton.
Yeah.
But it was basic. This basic little harness thing that you'd wear, and then it would, if you lifted your arm up, it would help assist. Yep. And it was kind of uncomfortable because when you're working in like a factory, it's warm, especially in the summertime, it's hot. Like you just don't want to wear it. But if you're someone who has like shoulder problems and you struggle with like shoulder pain or back pain or any kind of pain, really, that thing is great.
Oh, I can imagine. So then it's just thinking about that, just hearing a couple of problems that you came up with, I could think of different ways to implement cooling lines to run through it, to make the user cool down, to maybe make it a little more slimmer, and that kind of thing. Just general problems that I can see that can easily be solved.
Yeah. How would you do that?
What, to make it slimmer?
Yeah.
Well, I'd probably go into soft robotics. So soft robotics, instead of those huge servos, I would run little tiny lines of those flexible tubes. That way they can just run right along your skin.
Oh.
And that way because they're not metal. They don't interact poorly with the person's skin. You can just wear like a little undergarment or something.
Okay.
And then you'd run all these lines filled with cold air or fluid or something.
How much would something like that cost? Like a suit, or not a suit, but it's like an upper body suit, I guess.
Oh, to initially develop it, $200,000. To initially to then mass produce it, 10,000.
Wow. Okay.
Once you start mass producing it, I mean, everything gets cheaper.
Yeah.
But just to initially figure out how to develop it, to get everything perfected and whatnot, $200,000, if not $1 million easily. Any type of big product like that easily costs $1 million to develop. I mean, it's not just the stuff itself; it's the paying somebody, paying the software developer, paying the person to make it look nice.
Yeah, because that matters.
Yeah,
it really does.
Nobody wants just a bunch of wires hanging out.
No. Yeah, no. I seen Ford had something, and it was really interesting. It was an exoskeleton suit, but it was for people who were working on the line, and I think it was like if they had to squat down, it would help assist them. So like essentially they're sitting in a chair when they squatted down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. That's the same company that was working with GM.
Okay.
That was the exact same technologies.
Okay. Yeah. That I was really hoping GM would implement that, but
the chair thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
But you
can make one.
I'm sure you could.
I was saying you can make one.
I could?
Yeah, just go to a prosthetic store and you can get a knee brace that locks up.
Mm.
Simple as that. What? You're thinking about it?
I might have to do that.
Yeah, no. just get an ortho knee brace that just locks up at a certain degree angle, and that's it.
Huh. Well, I don't need to be any lazier, so. Okay. But I'm just thinking for people who like because at GM there's some jobs where you're like working underneath the car, and like some people are tall and they have to bend down. If you had to do that, you could almost squat down, and then if it could lock up, then that person wouldn't have to like be like this underneath the car or something. Yeah,
just something simple like that would probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even have like a little V shape something so that it would connect the two knees and have it on a hinge or something.
Oh.
Just to provide a little more stability. A lot of engineering problems can be done simply.
Yeah, I could imagine.
There's too many complications that happen with engineering. People want to make things the most interesting and the most robotic and the most software based if they can, but sometimes it could just be an easy mechanical lock.
Maybe you should work for GM as an engineer.
Get out of the biomedical industry. Okay, I'm working with cars.
No, screw that. I mean, there's definitely a future. There's definitely a future in the auto industry. However, I think the biomedical field has a greater future.
Call me when I'm installing machines on the moon.
I believe you could do it. Funny. I believe you could do it.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of room for development. I think a lot of people think that everything has been figured out.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of thought that it's just a lot of the easy stuff has been figured out. There's just a lot of hard things, and that just takes figuring out where to get funding.
Well, we're just at the beginning of innovation, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, we look at society as as a whole, like we've figured life out. We figured everything out. Like we know how octopuses work. Yeah. Well, you just explained we do not.
No, we don't.
We really don't. It's crazy. Crazy.
No, it's God, I had a thought. I lost it. I had a thought.
So if you were to open up your own practice or your own business, creating prosthetics and whatever else you would do with it, where would you do that out of? Would you do it out of Texas, or would you come back to Michigan and do it?
I would do that out of Texas just because my wife, she's just started an MD, PhD program down there. And so we'll be down there for a good 10 years. And I'm good at doing anything anywhere. I mean, there's a lot of technology companies down there. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of money that's flowing into Texas in the next couple of years.
Well, it seems to be everybody's moving to Texas right now.
Yeah.
So
everybody from California is deciding Texas is the new hot spot. I mean, it's already as hot as it is, but
yeah. I mean, Elon Musk just moved there with all his facilities and stuff.
I just drove by there. It's a huge Tesla factory.
Oh my gosh.
The windows are all shaped like a giant T.
Oh, really? That is cool. That is.
But
really
yeah,
cool.
There's a lot of things going on in Texas. I mean, it's a new hotspot. The housing market's fairly cheap, especially compared to California or Colorado. So it's going to be a nice place for new innovation, for people to live. It's just, a little warm, a little hot down there. I'm a guy from Michigan, so I'm like, I enjoy going out to 30 degree. I'm talking to my barber, and they're like, yeah, it gets kind of cold here in Texas, around 50 degrees. Like 50 I'm thankful for 50.
I'm from South Florida, so I understand. My dad, my biological dad, he's from Florida also. Actually, he's from Honduras, but he lives in Florida. And he's actually here right now, but in Michigan. But that's the thing, like when it's 50 degrees, he's like, man, this is cold. I'm like, this is nothing. This is beautiful weather. Maybe some shorts and a hoodie. You're good.
Yeah, I think, heck, even in this weather, it's 66 outside or something, or 70, and I think pants are a bit much.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I just wear them because I'm just used to wearing them.
Well, you probably have to have a certain attire, right, when you're traveling and
yeah.
Yep. I can't remember. I was going to say something. I don't remember what it was now. Yeah.
Well, we kind of jumped around a little bit there.
We did. We jumped around a lot.
Went from technology to weather to places to live.
I really do think you should start a podcast, though.
All right. Yeah, I've just been kind of not waiting. I don't like the word waiting.
Yeah, I don't either.
It just feels like I'm procrastinating. Yeah. But I just been moving around for the last month.
Well, you're a busy guy.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is like you could literally record from your phone.
I know. Just bad audio. Just such a bad audio.
It's not too bad if you put some headphones in.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Okay.
It's not bad.
I'll have to come up with a script or something to kind of. I like having organization, man.
Yeah. Is this stressing you out? Not having an organization?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. No, I wake up in the morning and I make my bed.
Yeah,
I go
that's
for
good.
a run. I like those rules for your own life.
Yeah.
So just starting doing something without having any type of rules for how it's supposed to be done kind of annoys me. And I'll create my own rules. That's no problem.
Well, the thing is like when you don't have any structure like that, I think it stifles innovation and it stifles being able to be creative, and you aren't necessarily as productive.
Yep. Oh man, productivity. No, just reminds me of when I was back in college. I had guys like, how did you get all this stuff done? How did you run 3 clubs, go to school, go to work, have a girlfriend? How do you do it all? Well, look at my calendar right here. Look at my, see what I'm supposed to be doing right now? Talking to you. It's in my calendar.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing I learned when I, at the start of this podcast, like for the majority of it, what are you doing?
Are you good?
See, that's important. That's important. It really is. This is what I had to do. I had to create an online schedule because it got to the point where, for one, it was unmanageable to schedule all these podcasts because people are just wanting to do it like crazy. And then I would have to like try to figure out what time works, like with our podcast. You and I negotiated the time.
Yeah.
But I would have to do that with everybody. And then everybody doesn't necessarily have the same availability as I do. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just create my availability and then they can just sign up for whatever works.
Yeah.
And then it also created organization for me because then I didn't have to worry about like, okay, I got to put this in my calendar. It just automatically appears. And it's helped me tremendously. So I've created this online calendar and so every day, I know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And like for me, I don't have like the kind of job where you travel or you have to have appointments. You have to be at like certain places at a certain time. Like I go to work and I'm there till the same time every day.
Kill for that.
Oh, no, you wouldn't. No. I think there's a sense of freedom in a sense for you. Like, yes, you have to be at these certain places. You have to travel. You have to get there. You have to be there at certain times, but you also have freedom.
Well, yeah, I told my boss, I'm not going to this job next Friday. I'm going Thursday. I'm flying on Friday. I'm going to have the weekend off.
Wow.
That's just the kind of freedom I have. But at the same time, sure, I'm getting paid a crap ton of money, but I'm still working from 7 a.m. to sometimes midnight.
Whoa. Do you think it's worth it?
Is it worth it?
As far
great experience, fantastic people I'm working with, fantastic industry. Everybody else that I'm working with is also working those hours, not just my job, but also the doctors, the nurses.
Right.
They're also 24/7, so everybody else understands you and has empathy for that you just work. You've been working all day.
Yeah. What I mean by worth it, I don't mean like the company you're working for. Like, is it worth it? Is it worth working there? What I mean is like, is it worth like working that much, and not having the capability of being, I guess, as free as you want, even though you're making really good money? Is it worth it? Being free and creative.
Oh, trust me, I would. That's why I was saying I would rather at least have the end of the day that you're forced to be done with it.
Yeah.
Have that forced stop time. But yeah, that's why I want to get my own company so I can work 24/7.
Well, eventually you wouldn't, but
no.
That's the thing too about like with my job. Like I love my job. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't love my job. However, I love the fact that I can go to work, plug my headphones in, listen to a podcast, do my job, leave at 4:00 every day, and then not think about going to work again until the next day.
Yep.
And then I can focus on other things. Like I don't have that in the back of my head. Like, oh man, I got to get that paperwork done. I got to send an email. Like I got to do these things for work. which is one reason why I would never want to like be a group leader or like a manager at GM, because a lot of those people, they have to stay later, they have to send emails after hours. Like there's a lot of work that goes into it, and you're constantly having to think about it. You're never separated from the job, even though you get paid really well.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth it.
That's what I'm saying. Eventually I'm going to want to, I already told my company this. They don't, even if someone from my company was listening now, they all know the deal that I'm only going to be there for maybe a couple more years.
Yeah.
Because this is my first job out of college was actually working as a DevOps engineer, working on servers and setting up servers for data management.
Mm.
That's what that is. This is my second job out of college. The one thing I like about it is more hands-on. I hate being stuck at a desk.
Mm.
So even if I'm traveling, it is a whole lot better than being stuck behind a computer doing paperwork all day.
Right.
A whole lot better. I mean, that's why eventually I want to get back into research, start my own company, developing products for people. I mean, I feel like every job's making a difference, but I could be making a whole lot more difference developing.
Yeah. And you seem like a real thought out, like creative individual. Like you working for another company is almost in a sense like stifling yourself. Like you're not putting yourself to your full potential.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's about right. No, I already talked to my wife about this. Where I'm already going to start getting a bunch of different tools, Arduinos and whatnot, and start programming them up, CADing out, doing all my own engineering for my own products.
Whoa.
It doesn't cost that much money. It costs a few $100. Because my biggest rule though is have an idea and have a plan before you buy the tools.
Mm.
That way the tools are at least worth it. You have a plan for them. You know what you want to do with them.
Yeah.
And even before all that, do market research.
Is there a pretty big market for this? I mean, obviously there is, but I guess what I mean is there a lot of competition?
There's a fair amount of competition. It's just about finding your niche.
Mm.
So a lot of the competition focuses on the knees, the elbows.
Okay.
The shoulders are the hardest to work with, so there's not as much competition for that. The back, there's some competition, but again, it's kind of hard to focus on the back. Just so many joints.
Yeah.
The shoulder or the elbows and knees, just a two-dimensional joint. Just 2 degrees of freedom.
Right.
Deal.
Right.
Or just 1 degree at that point. But it's just once you start getting into more complexity. So it's just like what I was talking about technology. The easy things have already been grabbed at. The easy things have already been done. It's just going out and working at the harder things.
That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Oh man, I love the difficulty. It's just going to take a whole lot longer to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only problem.
Yeah. Well, I believe you could do it.
Oh yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I'll get there. I'll get there. No, I'm going to enjoy. Oh man, I'm going to enjoy my life so much. I love working on things. When I was in school, my girlfriend at the time, she hated how much I would work.
Mm.
I would work from 6 a.m. till 1 in the morning every day.
Gosh.
No problem. My ADHD just had no problem dealing with that. Just problem after problem after problem. All right, let's go.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just figuring out from my point of view, scheduling yourself so that you can give your loved ones time to spend with them. So it's just so you're not always focused on work.
Yeah.
That's always the hardest thing for me is just ensuring that I'm dedicating enough time.
Yeah. That is the hard part about life. Like, especially when you're trying to pursue something that you want to like eventually be successful in doing. Like for me, like doing this podcast takes a lot of time. So like, especially because I work, and I'm sure you're going to work too, as you're kind of working on this eventually. Yep. And like trying to find that time outside of your scheduled hours to make this thing work and then make your family life work. It's very difficult to find that balance.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to pay your bills with blood and sweat.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Send that bag into the bank.
Yep.
Yep. We'll take it. No, it's going to be an amazing next couple of years, but as long as you have dedication, I mean, I think anybody can do it.
I think dedication and hard work.
Yep.
And that's something that's not necessarily talked about a lot. Like like people want to glamorize like success, right? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, like they're kind of an overnight success, but it takes a lot of work to get there, and people don't see that. They don't see that part. Like somebody may see, like, know you from school, mm-hmm. and like, yeah, that guy was super smart, but they haven't seen you through the last 10 years and what you've been up to. And then all of a sudden they may see you start this prosthetic company and they're like, holy cow, I know that guy. Like, he's an overnight success.
Yeah. Overnight, 10 years overnight.
But they don't realize that you stayed up from 6 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the morning working on whatever it was, yeah. or researching whatever it was in order to get to that point.
I mean, I like to use this example a lot to people. When I was taking Calculus 3, sure, I'm smart. I took Calculus 3. I spent 50 hours a week studying for that class, doing problem after problem until the problems on the exam looked exactly like the problems that I was studying. Mm. Every single time the teacher would throw a problem on the board and it would be the exact same problem I saw yesterday. I think it's just about putting the time in. And that will get you everywhere in the world if you just put the time in.
Yeah.
Put it in effectively. Can't really say that just putting time in, moving bricks around the house will do anything, but
right.
Just making sure you're putting in the time in the right place that matters to you is just where it will get you where you wanted to go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that in any pursuit, anything you do in life. Like, you don't have to be a genius in order to be successful in like calculus. Like you had mentioned, like if like I suck at math. I've always sucked at math, but it's not something that I've actively put the time into, like trying to be better at.
I failed trig in high school.
I think you're upset about that still.
Well, considering I got up to calculus 4 in college, I know I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying I failed it in high school, meaning
you didn't put the time in.
I didn't put the time in. I didn't really care as much. Yeah, and it's also to say there is no innate genius that will get you anywhere in life.
Yeah.
Even if I was innately good at math, it wouldn't have mattered without putting the time into going to the classes, spending time studying and whatnot. It's just putting it in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. Thinking about all that makes me tired a little bit.
Man, has time flown?
Oh,
I'm still like thinking about like the last time I seen you. You honestly haven't changed much. You're still really tall.
Yeah.
You're still like built.
I wasn't built.
You were bigger.
Beanpole.
You were like broad.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've always been kind of broad.
Yeah.
At least broader than me. I was scrawny, if you remember.
Kinda. Yeah, I kind of remember you're a little bit scrawny.
Yeah, I was scrawny, and I think I might have weighed like maybe 160.
It's not bad.
Yeah. I
think I weighed like 180 back then.
Okay. Yeah, you were kind of scrawny slightly, but like your upper body was broad.
Guess how much I weigh right now?
I'm going to say 200.
230.
230?
230.
Holy cow.
A lot of muscle. No, I'm not that. Traveling kind of killed that a little bit.
Traveling is very difficult to work out. That's like one thing I wish I could be better at. Even if you stay in a hotel that has a gym, I always try to make it a point to, like, if I go out of town for something and I'm in a hotel that has a gym, I try to go to work out at least for 20 minutes.
Yep.
But even then it's difficult because you're not eating the normal food that you would typically eat at home. Like your routine is just thrown off.
I mean, the biggest thing I do is I bring my own protein shakes. I pack in my checked bag and whatnot, protein shakes and whatnot, meal replacement bars or other type of protein bars or not. It's just about planning it out.
Yeah. I
think traveling, you can make yourself you can still be healthy traveling as long as you are committed.
Yeah.
It's hard. It is hard.
It is very hard. You definitely have to be committed. But typically whenever I'm going out of town, it's like a rush thing. Like
it's a cheat day.
Just got out of work and we're going to Columbus, Ohio to go to a comedy show or something. And it's like, okay, we need to hurry up and pack and just go. And then we get there and we're like, crap.
Do you do comedy?
No, I want to though.
Oh, okay.
No, I've thought about it.
Actually, into your own comedy show? Okay.
No, I wish. I want to. I want to try it.
Okay. Well, you should try it. Go for it.
I thought about it. I actually was just talking to that comedian the other day, and he was like, you should try it.
I mean, it's just about, you should have, and it's going to be a little bit different than this because you actually have to look people in the eyes the audience in the eyes while you're talking, but it's just, just go up onto an open stage, open mic night or something somewhere.
Yeah.
And doing karaoke even.
Yeah.
It's just getting used to being up there in front of people and being yourself.
That was one thing, like with this podcast, like if you go and listen to the beginning of these episodes, please don't. But if you do,
I thought it was fine.
If you do, it was one of those things, like I've never done this. Like over the years, from school, like I've kind of like over the years, like start distancing myself from people. And then you work in the factory, you're kind of secluded from like outside life. And so like you kind of become almost antisocial in a sense. And that's one thing I realized about myself. Like I wasn't like, I mean, because you get used to the people that are around you at work, you already know them. Like you don't really go outside of that box. But by doing this podcast, you have to put yourself out there. And I didn't realize how difficult that would be when I started this. So it's like, I would literally be 3 minutes in to a podcast, like interviewing somebody. Like I interviewed the mayor of Lansing, and I think it was like 10 minutes in, and I'm like, I don't know what else to ask you. I'm just like looking at him like,
ask him if there's any smog problems in Lansing or how the road work. Why isn't the road being done?
We talked about the roads.
Yeah.
Talked about the roads. We talked about all kinds of gun violence and all kinds of things. And it took a whole 10 minutes. And I was like, I don't know what else.
Community Development Center uptown?
I don't know.
No?
No.
There's a lot going on in Lansing.
There is. There is a lot. And that's one thing by doing
it just takes a lot of structure when you're meeting those professional people, just to have all those questions ready.
Yeah. Yeah, I typically, like when I'm interviewing like somebody who's running for like an office of some sort, or like I guess there hasn't really been too many of those, but typically I'll have like a somewhat of an outline, or I'll ask the general public what they would like to know.
Or here's one, the relation between, because after that Nassar case at MSU, all of the other healthcare providers, they divided up. They just distanced themselves very far away from MSU.
Really?
They just broke all relationships.
See,
and I'm sure the mayor of Lansing would have been right in the middle of that. I'm just saying, just some of those kind of things. Just cool questions about what's going on around the community.
Yeah.
Even adjacent. I mean, you could even talk about the Flint water crisis. I'm sure he's some way involved with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm just giving you ideas for future conversations to have with people.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because they have a lot of information. I'm sure they even talk to communities in the UP.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah.
I don't like those podcasts though. I don't really like talking to politicians. Like,
well, no,
it's not fun.
But sometimes they have inside knowledge in certain situations that you just don't have, and that's kind of interesting.
It is interesting.
Not really inside knowledge, just
a different perspective,
more in-depth perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoy like podcasts like this, like where I'm talking to a friend or somebody that I kind of know. Like it's more interesting. It's more comfortable.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is so much better. I mean, I've done plenty of interviews, scientific interviews. I've had videos for me teaching the science community how to take care of octopuses. I've done those kind of videos.
That's cool.
So this is a lot more relaxing. I'm just sitting here, just having a conversation.
Yeah.
This is the exact conversation we were having before we even started.
Right. Exactly. Recording. That's why I was like, we just need to start recording.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. I didn't really want it to be this formulated thing because like I tried the formulated thing and I realized real quick that I was just kind of writing like bullet points and then I'd be like, okay, I'd ask this question and then I'd have to try to find a way to segue into the next question. And then sometimes like if you get to talking and it's a really interesting conversation, like you want to continue talking about that or it segues into something different as opposed to, and then you got to try to find a way to get back. And it's like, you know what? I'd rather just talk. And if there are points, I'll write them down and then I'll come back to it later.
Yeah.
So, and I think this for me works, but
that's good
for somebody like you, who's doing like a more scientific and factual podcast, like you obviously, and you're more structured than me. You'll want to write notes.
Well, I've even seen some podcasts, they'd have like, just tell us about what you're currently doing. And at the very end, the last 10 minutes, they would have kind of questions like just follow-up questions or something. So at least 10 minutes are filled with structure, but then, so the entire thing doesn't need to be structured, just to last, just some part of it.
Right.
Just to have some good content.
Yeah.
Questions that you want to ask.
Yeah.
But That's how I would probably do it.
Okay. Would you do it like this kind of setup where you'd sit down with other people and just talk about things? And
Eventually, because my work has me traveling a lot. I would probably first start my podcast just by myself, going over research topics that's going on, and then eventually bringing in people that wrote those.
That would be so cool.
And then discussing and find points of like, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that within your research? Or do you have any other further conclusions based on what you currently did? I would never go into statistics. I mean, some people like statistics.
What do you mean?
A lot of people. What is the current error rate within this one product that you're currently developing?
Oh, right. Okay. Gotcha.
just hard depth statistics that only people that's working with that would understand or even care about.
I don't know. I think the general public would care.
You think the general public would care about statistic rates?
Absolutely, because I've interviewed people who are chronic pain patients, and one of the ladies that I interviewed, I interviewed a couple of them, and they talk about one of the big things they talk about is how these doctors push these devices into their they want to install these devices into their spine, and then they do it because the thing is like the doctors will say that they won't help them any further until they do these things. Mm-hmm. And generally the outcome of that is not very good.
Well, here's where I would differ from just saying a straight statistics. I would compare it to another procedure that people would more readily understand. Like it has the same chances you having open heart surgery.
Okay.
Or you having your limb cut off. Or something.
Right.
I would compare it with another comparable statistic for another procedure that they would understand. That way it's not 66 or 40%.
Right.
People are like, oh, that's not a good statistic. But then you would talk about another procedure that is more commonly done, and that makes it more relatable.
Right. That's important. I think that's very important.
Yes.
I think you should do statistics.
That's what. That's what I meant when I wouldn't be doing statistics. I would be
right. You'd be comparing them.
Again, my whole point of being a scientist and being a researcher and whatnot is also being able to communicate correctly with the audience, not just putting out these bland numbers that
nobody understands.
I would put into a research paper. I would definitely put all that stuff in a research paper. But when I'm talking to somebody, I wouldn't be talking statistics. I would be talking what's relatable.
Right. Wow, that's a really good idea. Mm-hmm. Extremely good idea. What would you call your podcast? Or do you not want to put that out there yet?
Biomedical Today.
Oh, okay. I
don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
What's happening in the biomedical community, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it has great potential to be a really good podcast, really big.
I mean, I haven't seen anything out there like it.
Yeah.
I mean, some software engineering podcasts, sure, but nothing about what's currently happening in research. But yeah, I think that's going to be a good hit if I ever decide to do it.
You need to.
Well, my more priority is developing products.
Yeah.
Developing new. If I would rather put my time into that. I mean, sure, there's really no good reason why not to do something. But at the same time, there's also time management.
Absolutely. But if you could do something to where you just take notes, like when you're traveling, I don't know what you do when you're traveling, if you're preparing for another meeting or whatever it is, but if you could just take notes on what you would like to talk about in an episode, and then you just record it, and then you could pay somebody even to like upload the interview or edit things, and then you don't have to worry about that portion.
Yeah. Well, how much did that go for usually? Like $50?
Honestly, I don't know. I do everything myself, so I don't know. It's definitely worth paying somebody though.
Yeah. What do you have, like an intro or something that like a cool music intro?
I have. I
have not listened to your most recent ones. I listened to like one or two of your first ones.
So yeah, no, that's fine. My old intro, like in the beginning, was like me kind of explaining what that episode was about, and I think I might have had some music and stuff. But over time, it's changed, and so I think I used to have like a video with like my logo and stuff that would like fade in and with some music or whatever. I used that for a while. And then now what I do is I just jump right into the interview. And so what I do is like I'll take the logo, the little video logo, and that'll play right at the beginning as I'm talking, like as we're starting the episode. So I don't know. It's one of those things that just keeps evolving.
Yeah, every person has their own preference and what they want to do.
And it's for me, it's been like a learning experience, like what works and what doesn't. Because like I would notice that by the statistics in each video that people would start checking out at the beginning, and maybe it was because I wasn't making it interesting enough. Maybe I needed to do something different. However, it's one of those things that like I just didn't know. Like I didn't know how to podcast. I didn't know how to do anything. So,
really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you tell the entire story at the very start, why would you continue?
Yeah.
It's like it's like putting the beginning of the book at the front.
Yeah, it was just like you can
kind of see that
little preview of everything. And so now like what I try to do for each episode is especially the really interesting and fun ones, before I release the episode, I go through and I take little clips from the episode and then I upload it to social media. That way people can see these like reels or these little TikTok videos of like what the episode was about or what we talked about, so that when they know what to expect, and it kind of draws people in.
Oh, this episode's going to go right in the trash probably then.
No, absolutely not.
Just right in the trash. He's boring as hell. Doesn't know anything. He's a lame scientist.
He's an idiot. Doesn't know anything.
No.
He's just from Charlotte.
Yep. From Chartucky.
You actually might get a lot of people from Charlotte listening to this.
Really?
Yeah, who knows?
Oh, that'd be kind of neat.
It would be. Yeah, no, this was a really good podcast, honestly. Like, I feel like you explained a lot of in-depth stuff in layman's terms. Like, I was able to understand most of everything you talked about.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And you didn't come off as like I'm smarter than
pretentious.
You. Yeah, pretentious.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Just to really be pretentious about it, I'll say that word pretentious.
Oh, that's hilarious. So we're literally an hour and 16 minutes into this thing.
Yep, I've noticed.
Yeah. Do you want to wrap it up?
Yep, let's wrap it up.
All right, cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to mention?
In the region, I'll throw in my sister's dog grooming business, Pups and Suds.
Okay. Where's that at?
She is in South Lansing over in Marcy Street, but she does mobile dog grooming business.
Okay.
So she likes to drive. She'll drive around and go right to your house and take care of your dog there.
She does it in the house, or does she have a vehicle?
She has a mobile van.
Oh, very cool. And it has like a sink and all that stuff in it.
Yep.
That's really cool. That's on the south side, right, of Lansing?
Yep.
All right,
yeah,
cool.
Her name is Stephanie Gray.
Stephanie Gray. Okay. Reach out to Stephanie Gray. And do you have social media or anything you want people to follow you? Any of that stuff?
Feel free to follow me, Tyler VanBuren.
All right.
I'm on everything.
All right. And then when you start your podcast, I'll go back and attach the links to that in this episode.
All right.
So,
sounds good.
And I'm super excited about that. All right, man.
All right.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.